Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Critical Reactions with your host, Bryan. We're going to move into some brand new music, this one coming up from someone we've checked out before. If you'll recall back in January, which honestly I felt like this was last year, but no, it was just earlier this year, we checked out a an atmospheric work from Vishal Naidu and Dan Kane called Catharsis. Vishal has released something new with a new band called Fallen Letters, accompanied by Aditya Ramesh on guitars and Mike Langford on drums. So, let's dive into this and see what Fallen Letters is bringing to the table with the track Remain a Memory.
But anyway, I was just calling to say that I hope you're okay.
I like the use here, using the same production on the vocals as the tape recorder, the answering machine. And opening up, yeah, that's a really smooth transition from that intro idea. Oh, a nice spooky feeling too. Perfect fit for this week. I love the snare ideas from the drums. This really great atmosphere and mood. I also see there's 4 musicians here, but I only saw 3 names in the description, so I apologize to the person who I've left out. All right. Yeah, just a really fantastic atmosphere here. And I really love the linear growth. I think this is what I want to touch on first because I thought this was pretty cool. We start off with the answering machine. We carry that answering machine production onto the opening vocals. We introduce the atmosphere here on the guitar and bass and drums, and then we open up the vocals into the full sound that they'll be at for the rest of the track. The movement from this verse into the chorus has this rising idea in the vocals that take us into the chorus itself, which retains much of the same writing. It is a little bit heavier, but it's still primarily uh, the singular clean-ish guitar work going on, giving this single note line, and the bass creating this thumping heartbeat underneath all of it. This takes us into the next section, which is screamed over this same atmospheric stuff. And I thought this was a fantastic choice. Instead of deciding to go for a full on metal section, we stuck with the atmospheric, sort of alt rock kind of thing that they had going on. Throughout all of these changes and sections, while the ideas themselves have all been in the same vein, the composition itself has continued to embrace the same concepts. We have changed up the Oh, let me rephrase that. While the production has been the same throughout a lot of them, we have changed up the composition just a hair, always adding on to things or recontextualizing ideas or creating variations on old ideas. It's what allows everything to feel so naturally evolving. We really do get to see this singular concept morph and mutate throughout this track, and I think that's phenomenal. And it really comes to a peak right here where we've begun to introduce some heavier elements, but it still isn't a metal section musically, despite having the harsh vocals on top of all of it. And this pushes us to our second verse, which is a continued exploration of the sound that we just had while utilizing more of the composition from our first verse. It's a bit of a variation on the first verse entirely, taking us into our final chorus, which has the additional guitar work on it. The distorted guitar comes in and really introduces a heavier element to the track, while the song itself basically goes verse, chorus. Oh, there's the bridge in there too that I forgot about with the guitar solo. So that'd be verse, guitar solo, chorus, I think is what the structure was. Pretty typical, but when you listen to how the song feels, the story that's being told, it's completely linear. And I really love how they achieved this, where it is a cyclical structure with a linear narrative on top of that. It is one of my favorite things to hear in mainstream music. Um, this isn't mainstream, but I think sonically it is mainstream adjacent. But to utilize the the trait composite or the trait structure that we have, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. Um, this idea has been around for music for decades, and we're still utilizing it. But to change it up just a hair, and to find ways to create linearity within the cycles. And this is just a really great song at showcasing that. And it allows everything to feel exceptionally cyclical, sorry, cohesive. While we do have some of these shifting ideas, there's a lot of callbacks, there's a lot of reusing ideas, recontextualizing, and revisiting ideas, as well as providing variations on ideas throughout this track that allows it to feel like a singular story being told. Even when we move to the guitar solo section, the narrative that the guitar solo tells not only works well in a vacuum, I think the solo itself has great pacing and melody writing, but it also pushes the narrative forward. It picks up exactly where the vocals left us off at and pushes forward from there, eventually passing the baton back to the vocals and allowing the main melody line to be consistent throughout. All of that is really fantastic. From an atmospheric perspective, this was sort of what I was expecting to be a strong point. I didn't expect this to be such atmospherically driven, but given the last track that I heard from Vishal, I was expecting something a bit more atmospheric, and this absolutely, it's just so good. The atmosphere is palpable, it is strong, it is eerie. There is loss in here, there's a lot of tension in here. It is there's bits of not necessarily dread, but sadness, the tension of sorrow, I suppose. But what I think is most impressive about it is that it isn't always present. There is a haunting element, a weight that is always felt, but is not always noticeable. I think even in the sections that are where we've released tension, where we have the most resolute elements, it still carries a darkness to it. And it's interesting when we sit in those moments for so long that it just becomes the default state of things. And then to contrast that, we will get occasional moments of heavy tension. We particularly see this in the pre chorus with the back and forth between the tension and the release. It creates an atmosphere that feels like the weight, the sorrow, the heaviness of it is the norm, and there are moments of pain felt within it, but there are no moments of brightness or beauty or joy at all. With the track title like Remain a Memory, I think I'm probably on the right path here, but really gonna have to dig into the lyrics to see what particularly this track is about regarding that feeling. But it is explored so thoroughly and expressed so with such depth. Again, it's the evolution of the song, this slow drive from the beginning atmosphere to the ending atmosphere in a linear evolutionary manner that I think really helps sell this feeling and atmosphere as something a bit more nuanced than if we had just stuck with a light section and a heavy section, then a light section and then a heavy section. And it comes off uh, completely effortless. Such high execution, uh, just done so easily, it feels like. With that said, let me hit the lyrics and see where we are with those. So the song is about a love that is over. Doesn't quite say what happened, but the memories still haunt this person. Our opening verse says, "Pictures of you in my head, memories of you I try to forget." Can't you just let yourself out? Just please remove yourself from my head. It says, "Waking up all alone, waiting for you to leave my head. I don't know when you fell into this mind, but I can't forget." The chorus says, "Have you seen this side of me? Wailing through these eyes, I feel so empty. Only thing I know is I don't want to see your face again." It says, "You're the poison that stained my life, and I can never forgive." And that's we have a second verse in here, goes into more of the same ideas, but in different, going about different ways of uh, saying it. But that's the general vibe here. There's a lot of pain. There's a lot of regret. There's sorrow. There's a little bit of anger. All of it wrapped up in the lyrics in the. But it's something this person wants to get past but can't. It's what makes it a haunting sorrow more so than a ballad, which is more of a sad song. And so I really like how the moodiness of the atmosphere pairs well with that. I mentioned that there is a static weight present in the track. We don't always deal with tension, it's present occasionally, but we don't ever get to feel any sort of full resolution towards something joyous or positive. There's always that weight, that heaviness to it. It lingers everywhere. And that's exactly what the song is. I even think that the tempo was perfectly selected for this. It's about the slow movement, the slow growth, the slow grieving period. wanting things to be better, but they can't yet. You still have to go through this processing period, but feeling the weight of that grief every day and not having the control to just force it out. It's your mind, it's your memories, it's your thoughts. You should have control over that, right? It's my brain. It should listen to me. But it doesn't. It has a mind of its own. The memories, the stuff you remember, the stuff you think about, you don't have control over that. It just happens. Yeah, I dig this. According to this, it's the debut song of the band. This is the first release ever. If this interests you, keep an eye on Fallen Letters. I know I will. Vishal always puts out great music, and this is certainly more up my alley than usual, and I really dig his more atmospheric stuff. So hearing him get to apply that to a rock slash metal outlet was fascinating. Those are my thoughts on Fallen Letters Remain a Memory. Let me know what you thought of this track. Put it down in the comments, your opinions, perspectives, if you enjoyed it, if there's anything that I talked about that maybe you think I didn't go into enough detail for. Put it all down there above the comment section. In the description box, you'll find a link to Linktree. It'll take you to this menu right here. You can find links to my music, ways to support the channel, a link to the Discord server, and so much more. Above that, if you could, like, subscribe, and ring the bell. I greatly appreciate all three of those. We do have one more new track today. We're going to be checking out Rivers of Nile. They have a new new music video that came out. I don't know if the album's new or what, but it's a new music video. We're going to check that out. Otherwise, I'll be back tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 p.m. UTC. As usual, we're going to check out an entire album, a classical one this time. It'll be our first classical album review. Looking forward to it. Until next time, remember to be critical, not cynical, of the music you listen to, and have a fantastic morning, afternoon, or evening whenever you choose to watch my videos.